Hi everyone, my name is Jeremy, and this video is the first in a series chronicling all of the guitars used by Dave Grohl and the Foo Fighters throughout the history of the band. If you're familiar with my channel already, you know two things. I'm a huge guitar nerd, and I'm a huge fan of the Foo Fighters. I play in a Foo Fighters cover band, and I've collected a number of guitars similar to the ones Dave Grohl has used himself, including two replicas of the DG335 models that Dave uses, which I've made videos about on this channel. You can find links to those in the description below. I decided to make this video series because over the years, Dave and the band have used a ton of cool guitars, and although there's a lot of information out there about them, I've yet to see it all compiled into one source. I've spent a good deal of time combing through photos, music videos, interviews, and live concert footage to try and piece together an accurate timeline of all the guitars used by the band over the years. In this first video, we'll be covering Dave's early years as a guitarist up through the recording of the Foo Fighters' second album, The Color and the Shape. If you're interested in supporting this project, you can check out my Patreon in the link featured in the description. I plan on continuing this project all the way through the present-day Foo Fighters albums, and my ultimate goal is to try and reach out to someone with the band to get some first-hand accounts of the guitars that they use throughout the years. Since I'm trying to avoid copyright issues in this video, all of the music you hear is going to be original instrumental music that I've recorded myself. So without further ado, let's jump in and get started. Most fans of the Foo Fighters know that in his younger days, Dave Grohl was primarily a drummer, playing in multiple bands, finally culminating in his most famous role outside of the Foo Fighters as the drummer for Nirvana. What some might find surprising is that Dave actually began his music career playing guitar. He mentions in Paul Brannigan's book, This Is a Call, that his first encounter with a guitar was a nylon string, flamenco-style guitar that his mother had purchased for his father. He recalls only casually messing around with this instrument, ultimately breaking all but two of the strings and using the remaining two to teach himself power chords. Dave played this broken acoustic until his mother gifted him a 1963 Sears Silvertone model, complete with an amplifier built into the case, for Christmas in 1981. These guitars were short-scale, bolt-on neck models with Danelectro-style construction featuring a lipstick-style single-coil pickup. Shortly after this period, before Dave made the switch to drums for his band Mission Impossible, he's quoted as having acquired a Memphis Les Paul-style guitar, similar to the one pictured. He's also seen using an Ovation Preacher around this time with his first band Freak Baby. Over the course of the next decade, Dave Grohl had primarily switched to drums, playing in various bands including Scream and ultimately Nirvana. During this time, Dave was recording with longtime friend and producer Barrett Jones, making demos of his own music at Jones's Laundry Room studio. It is assumed during this time that Grohl was using guitars available as part of Barrett's own collection, including a Gibson Melody Maker and several other Gibson models. In 1992, while on tour in Maryland with Nirvana, Dave found a 1967 Gibson Trinity Lopez. He was immediately drawn to the guitar, interested in the unique diamond-shaped holes on the body and the 6-in-line Firebird-style headstock. He bought the guitar and has since claimed that it is the sound of the Foo Fighters, due to its presence on nearly every record he has recorded. Indeed, this guitar can be seen with Dave throughout his entire career as a guitarist, and was the basis for his first signature model in 2007. Although rarely seen at a live concert, this original Trini can be seen in various Foo Fighters music videos, including Learn to Fly, Times Like These, Best of You, Resolve, played by Chris Shiflett, and In the Clear and Outside, as well as appearing throughout both the Sonic Highways and the Sound City documentaries. Through the years, Dave has been seen in both photographs and live performances with other vintage Gibson Trinity Lopez models, including one of 11 originals in the custom Pelham Blue finish. The main difference between these guitars and his signature model is the binding on the diamond holes and the trapeze-style tailpiece. We'll talk more about these guitars in a later installment of this series. By the time Nirvana had ended in 1994, Dave took some time away from music. When he decided to start playing again, he was ready to record the album of original songs, which would go on to become the first Foo Fighters record. This was recorded with Barrett Jones at Robert Lang Studios in Seattle, Washington. While it's assumed that Dave's Trini Lopez was present at these sessions, Jones himself is positive that most of the album was recorded with Grohl's Tobacco Burst Gibson Les Paul Standard. While it's not clear when exactly Dave ended up acquiring this guitar, it can be seen in photos and videos from the very first Foo Fighters live shows as his main guitar, and was used extensively in the 1995 tour. The last this guitar was seen in a 2007 tour of the Foo Fighters Studio 606.
Oh, here you go. Here's a Les Paul that I decided I was going to customize to look like a Matchbox racing car, and this is as far as I got, because I don't know what the hell I'm doing with guitars. You know what? This is the guitar that I recorded the first Foo Fighters record with, and I totally ruined it.
Why did you do that?
Around this time, Grohl was also gifted a Gibson SG Custom with 3 pickups in a dark brown finish by his wife. This guitar can be seen in video footage from the Foo Fighters' first show, as well as in the music video for I'll Stick Around and many other live performances. Along with these guitars, Dave also had 2 matching 1991 Gibson Les Paul Customs, one in white and one in black. These guitars were used extensively in live performances as well between 1995 and 96 and up through 2000. The black custom could be seen in music videos for Everlong and My Hero, and both can be spotted in just about any live concert footage from this era. At this point, we should obviously mention the other guitarist in the band, which of course is the legendary Pat Smear. While this series will predominantly feature Grohl's guitars, I will be documenting as many examples of guitars used by the other players in the band. This is specifically difficult in Pat Smear's case since he is pictured with a different guitar in nearly every performance and every video he's featured in. So to save some time in this series, I'll just be highlighting some of the more important models that he's been pictured with. Since his time in Nirvana, Pat Smear has been a frequent player of Hagstrom guitars. He can be seen with various models including the H2N, the Viking, and the Super Swede. In 2011, Pat got his own signature model Hagstrom and used that guitar during the Wasting Light tour. More on that later. Other notable models used by Pat are the Mossrite Celebrity, pictured here being played by Grohl, and visible in the I'll Stick Around video. A Gibson Barney Kessel model was used at the Foo Fighters 1995 show at Brixton Academy. And of course the blue Moser Custom SG guitar seen in the music video for Big Me. Pat can also be seen using multiple SG custom models in red, yellow, and white, and even a Gibson EDS 1275 double neck in aged white during the 1996 tour. Coincidentally, a different EDS 1275 double neck is visible being played by Dave in photos from a 1996 session while recording the demo for My Hero. If you listen closely to this early demo version, you can hear the 12-string neck being played for the rhythm track. Pat used this 12-string neck on his 1275 for early live performances of this song. It's also worth mentioning the preferred instrument of choice for Nate Mendel, the Foo Fighters bassist. Nate has essentially been using the same bass for his entire career with the band. A 1971 Fender Precision bass in candy apple red sold to him by the lead singer of the band, Christ on a Crutch. He's used other basses throughout the years, which we will discuss in later episodes of this series, but for the most part, this trusty Fender bass has been with him since the beginning. Fender recently released a signature model of this bass around the release of Foo Fighters' 7th album, Wasting Light. Also during this first tour, we start to see Dave Grohl using his Gibson Explorer. He's had a couple of these over the years, but his black one starts making an appearance as early as 1995 and can be seen on stage with him through the tour for the band's 3rd album, There's Nothing Left to Lose. This guitar can be seen in the music video for Big Me and tons of live concerts. In 1996, Dave started using a 1978 Gibson RD Standard model in Sunburst. Another guitar seen on stage extensively throughout the late 90s into the 2000 tour, Dave says this about the RD. RDs are awesome. It's like holding a kitchen table over your chest and having it scream like a jet airplane. I like that they're really heavy and can sound fat or bright. They're kind of nasty guitars. Played through a boogie rectifier, they sound completely insane. Dave used this guitar quite a bit on stage and even in the studio. According to engineer Bradley Cook, this guitar was used for much of the recording of Foo Fighters' second album, The Color and the Shape, specifically on hit tracks such as Everlong and My Hero. We'll cover more on this guitar in the next installment of the series. The next couple years for the band were quite turbulent, seeing the dismissal of William Goldsmith on drums and departure of Pat Smear on guitar. These roles would be filled by Taylor Hawkins and Franz Stahl respectively. In the next video, we'll talk about the guitars used on tour for The Color and the Shape, throughout the recording and tour of There Is Nothing Left to Lose, the addition of guitarist Chris Shiflett, and the recording of the 4th album, One by One. Thanks for watching. Please consider supporting my Patreon in the link below, as well as checking out the other links to follow me on social media and check out my original music. Also, please like this video and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the content, and consider sharing this with other people who might be interested in the subject. Thanks again, and we'll see you in part 2.